Welcome to the Healing Circle. I'm Christine, founder of Embodied Energy Wellness, a shamanic energy practitioner and soul guide. This is a space for honest conversations about healing, awakening, and the moments that shape us. We all carry a story, and this is a place where those stories can be shared, witnessed, and gently healed, together in community. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about remembering yourself. Take a deep breath. You're very welcome here. Before we begin, I want to gently let you know that this episode includes a personal story shared by my guest. Some themes may include trauma, grief, pregnancy, or baby loss, or sensitive life experiences. This story is shared willingly and with care, and I invite you to listen in a way that feels safe and supportive for you. As always, you're welcome to pause or step away at any time.
Today's guest is Philippa, a woman whose healing journey has been shaped by one of the deepest forms of grief a soul can carry, the loss of a terminally ill baby after birth. Philippa comes to this conversation not only for her own healing, but with a profound desire to represent others who have walked the same path, the women who carry this kind of silent sorrow in their bodies and their hearts. She's lived through burnout, depression, and the emotional collapse that comes from trying to survive something you can't prepare for. And she's here because she wants people to know that healing doesn't have to happen only through counselling or clinical support. There are other paths, other tools, and other ways back to yourself. Welcome, Philippa. How are you today?
Hi, Christine. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
You're so welcome. Thank you for trusting me to hold a sacred space for you. And we're going to open up our sacred space today. Okay, so I want you just to settle into your space. Everyone drop in. Close down your eyes. Connect to your breath. Take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. And a big sigh out through the mouth. Again, deep inhale in through the nose. And let once more deep breath in. And just let your breath return to its natural rhythm. We're going to call in the spirits of the east, air, spring, new beginnings. We're going to call in the spirits of the west, water, autumn, healing. We're going to call in the spirits from the north, earth, winter, grounding. We're going to call in the spirits from the south, fire, summer, passion. And we call in the spirits from above, ascended masters, archangels, guardian angels, spirit guides, and spirit animals. And we call in spirits from below, our ancestors, the wisdom in our bones, those that have come before us and those that will come after us. And all healthy and compassionate spirits, please be in the space today to hold Philippa into the sacred, beautiful, safe place. And so it is. You can open your eyes, dropping in. So, Philippa, you have a very, very tough story to tell, and we're all going to hold you in this sacred healing circle. I invite you to just begin if you feel comfortable to do so.
Yeah. I suppose to go back to the start of my fertility journey, I had my son in 2012.
Yeah.
He is 13 now. And then in 2014, I experienced a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Very early miscarriage. But at that time, I have to say, it devastated me, devastated us. Not knowing what was down the road for us, what was to come, which would be bigger. But at the time, that was massive. So I would never, if anybody talks about early pregnancy, I find when I'm talking to people, they would say, it was very early on. It was very, they kind of dismiss it.
Dismiss it, yeah, which doesn't take away from the emotions that you were growing a baby.
No, exactly. From the minute you realize you're pregnant, or even before you realize you're pregnant, even when you're trying,
Yeah. You're already imagining that life,
Yeah, absolutely. And so at that time, that was huge. Then going on to 2016, we fell pregnant again, and everything was going well until at 9 weeks, something was slightly picked up on the scan.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was kind of spoke about, and we were brought in for another scan, but nothing was, definite. We were kind of reassured. At 12 weeks, we were brought in for another scan, kind of a bigger scan. And it was then said that there was definitely an abnormality with the baby. Devastating. When you're in that room and it's just, there's something wrong, but it's just silence. And the person obviously has to leave to bring in other people, doctors and stuff. So that went on to me needing a CVS, which is when they go in through your belly with a very, very large needle, and they take a little sample from the baby and they test that. So it goes off to be tested. So you have to wait 2 weeks for that test to come back. And that 2 weeks, 2 weeks is unbelievable. So you're left, no fault of theirs, but it has to go off to another country. And then in 2 weeks, it comes back. So it came back that our baby had Edwards syndrome. T18.
And can you explain what that is?
It's a chromosome abnormality, so it's an extra chromosome. So that probably also makes me think about there was an ad at the time, and it was trying to promote it's only an extra chromosome, relating to other things that your baby can be diagnosed with. But for me at the time, only another chromosome was massive, because that led to us being told that our baby was non-compatible with life. So we had the choice whether we wanted to carry on or not. And our choice was to carry as long as baby wanted to.
Yeah.
So it actually ended up being 9 months plus. She was overdue. Hi. So yeah, so I was actually overdue, and we gave birth to Molly May, our baby girl, Molly May. So we, obviously that was a very long process of going through a lot of appointments, a lot of learning, a lot of stuff of what we needed to do for when baby was born. And,
how did you get by every day with the constant?
I think my body shut down a lot of numbness.
Yeah.
I would say I was not living. I would say I was surviving every day.
Totally understandable. And that is what we call, again, soul loss, in shamanic healing. When we're going through something very traumatic, or like, would I be right in saying you're having an out of body experience?
100%. Yeah.
So that is soul
Yeah.
loss.
I think if you were fully in touch with your body at that time, I don't know if you'd cope. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how you would cope if you were fully aware. Now at the time, I didn't realize I was that numb.
Yeah.
At the time, I definitely didn't realize. That came later on.
100%. Because we have, we have to go into that survival mode.
Yeah.
And we have to go into the numb, and there is a protective layer around us and around our heart.
Yeah. I actually felt, when looking back now, I feel it was a very powerful time for me. I always felt when I was pregnant, it was the most powerful time. I can't explain. I felt when I was pregnant, I felt I was untouchable, kind of. And I felt I had to just power on, and I kind of had to protect my family. My son Jack was only 4 at the time, going on 5. So we had to bring him on that journey with us, explain everything to him in child terms, and just protecting everybody. The load of it was massive. And unfortunately, the next year, the very same thing happened.
So it happened to you twice?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Just breathe through.
So the second time, for some reason, just before I was told that this baby had a high growth around her, where they start looking into the abnormality, my husband had to leave the room. I can't even remember right now why. and I was told the diagnosis in the room on my own. It was horrendous the second time. I suppose you feel it's happened once. It won't happen again. Like, yeah, it absolutely will not happen again. We'd already told people we were pregnant, which was okay. I would have anyway. But we had told our son only the week before. Yeah, so we went through the whole thing again a year later.
To the full 9 months.
Yeah. And we had to, she was slightly under 9 months. And yeah, they're buried together. I think for me, it was, I think people think that your baby just disappears, that you don't go in and actually give birth. They were at home with us for 5 days. They weren't alive, but they were at home with us each time for 5 days while we mourned and looked after them.
I don't think anyone talks in depth of that liminal space.
No.
I don't think people mentally or emotionally are able to put themselves into that space.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go in not once but twice.
Yeah. And I'm happy for people that they haven't gone through that. It's horrendous and that's okay. Now, it took me a long time to get to that point to be okay with, they don't know, I kind of went a lot through my life kind of thinking people know what's going on in my head. People know what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Just by sitting in front of me, I had to learn. People don't know what I'm thinking and they don't know what I'm feeling,
It's always coming down to perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
They perceive like,
yeah,
Pippa's coping, she's fine.
Yeah.
But inside it can be a total different landscape.
Yeah. And just navigating the whole thing and navigating that my husband, he was on his grief journey and you're not on your grief journey at the same time. So he's
difficult, isn't it?
Very difficult. Yeah. Yeah, very difficult. It takes a lot of understanding and a lot of
compassion.
Yeah. Yeah, for the other person and just to let them grieve the way they're grieving, During that time when I had to get the tests and I had to get everything done, that's when somebody handed me, at the time, I didn't know what it was, but I was clinging on to anything, and somebody handed me a rose quartz angel. Yeah, and not even somebody that was that close to me. It was passed through somebody to me. And for some reason, I just carried that with me through the whole of the 2 pregnancies and the whole time. And the coldness of the crystal would take my mind away from whatever I was going through. I can't explain it, but that's what it did for me. I've since passed that on to somebody in my family because they're going through something. So I don't have it here to show you at the moment, but it's just a little rose quartz angel that has a few chips out because it's been everywhere with me.
But isn't it beautiful to pass that on, like the gift,
Yeah.
Kept your head above water.
Yeah.
In such a very hard and difficult time for you.
I definitely didn't realize what it was doing for me at the time. And then I'd pick up other little crystal bits. I'd pick up like little angels along the way, or somebody would buy me something. And like bit by bit in my house, I kind of gathered and stuff. But yeah, I didn't realize that they were helping me so much, but they were. Yeah.
And, the person that you're saying, it didn't even know them that well. I
No.
strongly believe people come in at times in your life and it is a message from Source, Creator, the universe, to help you on your journey. Have you seen that person ever since? Or?
Yeah. It's actually a neighbor of my sister.
No way.
And she had her own journey and her own losses, and she dealt with it totally different, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I struggled with as well, that a lot of people thought because of my choices through the journey that, I had certain views and I don't.
Okay.
And then I had to deal with that, protecting my family so people understood. And then I realized, I'm not actually here to educate people,
No.
For a long time, I thought I was. I had to tell everybody and I had to, make sure everybody else was okay with it. And
you're making other people feel comfortable in your presence.
Yeah.
You're actually the one that's going through this pain. But you're thinking of others.
Yeah. For a long, long time, until about 2 years ago.
Because when we see, it again comes down to perception. When we see someone going through so much heartache, we do kind of judge on what we perceive how they're grieving.
Like just how different people cope with grieving. Like my husband, he done a marathon for every time we had a baby or we lost a baby. He done a marathon. That was his way, and he used to say to me, I have to run. That's what I do. And I went to counselling, the standard counselling like that people are offered. And at the time it probably did serve its purpose. It probably did help me in little ways, but I never really felt like it was what I needed.
So this is why you're being called probably, or more getting involved in the shamanic healing. Is that true? Because you've done the counselling, or what's the draw?
No, so about 2 years ago, a neighbour of mine happened to say to me, would you like to go to a healing circle just across the road from where we live? And she said, I've gone a couple of times and I had no clue what it was.
Yeah.
And my husband said, go. And I said, okay. So I went, and the minute I walked in, it was only a small little room. And from the minute I walked in, I was like, this is me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it that you felt held, you felt safe?
Yeah, I just felt that's what I needed. I felt safe. The biggest thing for me was, even though everybody got to speak a little bit,
yeah,
they didn't get to, not that it's other people's faults, but with other counselling, when I went to it, I was taking on everybody else's story.
Yeah.
I can't just switch off. So when I came home, I was thinking about other people. Thought it was helping me at the time, because I'd go in and I'd help them people maybe even a little bit deeper with their grief and stuff like that. And I just ploughed on doing that and helping other people. And then I realised, like, I haven't even done anything for myself. So when I walked in there, I just felt, wow. And I always found it very, very hard to cry. All during this, I was very numb. And I cried in the healing circle. I think it was just by mentioning my name, I cried. I don't think I was even, I think she just asked me my name and I just cried. And it was the first time I just felt okay, just crying. I didn't say, I think I might have said I was sorry. Actually, I've stopped saying it, but I think I might have said I was sorry. And she was like, no. She explained to me that my emotions was okay, just to sit in them and let them come up. That's what I needed to do. And nobody had ever said that to me before, Obviously people...
Go on. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, obviously people had said to me, you can cry and be upset, but it was just in that circle. I just felt
the permission
to
sit in a safe, sacred space,
mm-hmm.
And to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like our emotions, what I always say to my clients is our emotions are like waves. So if you ever sit on the beach and you watch a wave and you see the wave coming from the horizon, building and building, growing and growing, and that's exactly like our emotions, and it gets bigger and bigger. And then it's we as humans, most of us that don't want to feel that wave of emotion overtaking us, because we're afraid if the dam opens we'll never stop. But when that wave grows and grows and grows and gets bigger and bigger, we automatically just suppress it, so we just beat it down. But that wave just wants to be seen and then turn into white horses and then dissipate back into the sea, the vastness of the sea. So our emotions, our energy and motion builds and it builds and it builds to the point then when we do sit in that space, it feels like the tsunami is coming, and that's why we keep moving further away from our emotions. When we sit in our emotions, we're releasing, we're shedding, we're healing when we sit in our emotions and give them that, and especially when we're in a space that is safe and we're being held.
Yeah, definitely. And it was the first time that I actually had a physical pain in my chest for like 5 years, a physical pain. And it was the first time that pain started to lift. It just started to lift. And then obviously, because it was a healing circle, she was doing like meditation and going on journeys, and I just started to feel so connected with my girls, you know, so connected. Not that I had like a big experience or they came into me or anything like that. I can't explain it. I just felt so connected, and that is what I needed, to feel connected and to feel
They have not left you, you know. They're always
no,
around, but just in a different form.
yeah, yeah. And a big thing that came up for me would be why all the time, why, and then through meditation and stuff, I started to feel, well, why not me? You know, why not me? Like if it wasn't me, it'd be somebody else. But why not me? It doesn't have to be like a bad thing. I know it is. It is a bad thing, and people find that hard to understand.
But you're seeing it from the soul level.
Yeah, yeah. I see it as a very, very, very special thing. And once I said in front of people, I wouldn't change it, and I got the looks that I got and the feeling that I got. I've never said that actually till now again, but that is the way I feel.
That is really, really inspiring and amazing for other women that are maybe going through something similar. You know, on a human form, we can view any of this as a why me and come from a victim mindset, and we could be very angry.
Yeah.
And we could be very angry at the world, at God, the creator, whatever it is in your mind.
Yeah.
We'll never move past the grief until we shift into our higher self and the higher perspective.
And I think just to be okay with that, and just to feel it's okay. Like, because I suppose you form stronger beliefs that this is not it. And I believe, you know, that this is not it. And I will get the answers. And hope, that's the word that I would use. Just to have hope. I think if you don't have hope, I think, you know, you're in a hard place. I think you always have to have hope.
I think hope is like, you know, a lot of people have lost hope. You know, but when we look at it from the soul point of view, you know, you will meet your girls again, and your energy and their energy is infinite. It has been proven by science. Our energy lives on as we transform, and we are transforming from a physical form into an energetic form that is source. So they're still there, you know, and they're still around you. And it's funny the way you view it. I've always viewed death that way. And I used to, like, when my husband, his father had died before we met, and then his mother died a couple of years after we were together. And I just turned around and said, Jesus, do you know what? You're one lucky beggar. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, you've got two people up there rooting for you. I said, you don't want for nothing. Because you've got two people there, a direct line in your ancestral lineage that are up there moving mountains for you. You will not want for anything. You are continuously being held, protected, and loved. And love and light is infinite. And he turned around and goes, all right, you just think too deep. But also, I've never thought it that way.
Yeah, but imagine if everybody thought that way, and if it was switched, and the way we are programmed to think about death and about, imagine if it was switched and you have no fear and you have no, you know, no fear around it. No,
it's transformation.
Yeah, and to be okay with it. That's why I always say it's the only wish I have for anybody in my family or anything that's passing over, that they pass over well. And that they're not scared, you know. Don't be scared.
Do you know what? I just had that conversation with my mum the other day. She's turned 80 in the last 2 weeks. And we always talk about death, because I'm always talking about death.
Yeah.
Because I'm weirdo. And I have always been fascinated with death. And
so have I, yeah.
Like, it's weird. And even I like hanging around in graveyards, you know. Like, there you go, you know. And I've always said, like, after this business, I will move into a death doula. You know what I mean? Because I think being there and at a point where people are transforming is a beautiful space to be in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. if you want a bit of grounding, there you go. To be around somebody, or to even to care for somebody, like, for someone thinking of that, but to care for our two girls and the way we cared for them and the dignity we gave them,
And like, do you know what I love about you, Pippa? Like, you've gone through the most unimaginable pain that anyone comprehend, but you're still smiling.
Yeah. There's always something. There's always something to look forward to in life. There's always hope. Last year, I kind of came to the end of my fertility journey, and I kind of stumbled a little bit there. That was tough. Yeah, that was tough. We tried IVF, we tried everything after the girls, but each embryo came back with a different chromosome abnormality. Okay. So we never implanted the embryo. And then I was diagnosed with endometriosis and I needed surgery. And look, that was just the end of that journey of having children. Yeah. I'm just so happy that I had started my healing journey before that, before I had to realize that and to be okay with that. That was another massive thing to come to terms with. Because then the hope has to switch to a different type of hope.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's like, okay, that's
the hope of having a baby is, I needed to switch it to something else. Exactly. Yeah. And I think you just have to switch it to what you have and what you have been privileged to go through. Like, I got pregnant. Some people never get pregnant. Yeah. I got to be pregnant. I enjoyed my pregnancy on my two girls, even though, like, I look back on it and I did actually enjoy it, like, because all I ever wanted in life was children, to be around children. That's what I'd done all my life. That's what I worked in. I never, worried about my children having disabilities or anything like that. If they could be here with me, I'd care for them. I'd, dedicate my life to that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that wasn't the case, that they couldn't be here. But I just still feel that you can always look in and see a different perspective on stuff. It's not always easy to do, but I think from the healing and from different ways, you can reprogram your mind. I think that's what it is. If you reprogram your mind, you can always switch it. Yeah. To think in a positive way.
Thank you for being part of the Healing Circle today. If something in this conversation touched you, let it land gently. You don't need to rush to understand it. Your body already knows. Remember, your story matters, and when it's shared in the right space, it has the power to heal, not just you, but others too. If you feel called to explore this work more deeply, you'll find links to my sessions, retreats, and offerings through Embodied Energy Wellness in the show notes. Until we meet again, go gently, stay connected, and trust the wisdom within you. Thank you for being here.